Exterior Outback Day.
I'm sorry, my friends. I didn't want to stop you when you were having such a fine time. But this is an emergency. Your house is all on fire. And if we do not rise up now, all this will turn to ashes.
The vast outback shows the lay of the land which is involved in this story. It is majestic, seemingly unspoiled. A dead sheep decays beside a small creek in which float several dead fish. Interior, City Legal Office Day. Al, late 20s, a perfectly groomed lawyer that has winner written all over her, leans menacingly over a desk with her arms spread.
You need to let this one go. They're on the ropes. It's up to us to land the killer punch.
Reveal Jill, 40s, sophisticatedly dressed to reassure, rises up from her seat. Al stands erect and they face each other. It is a Mexican standoff. Jill avoids Al's gaze.
We'll get back to this after Christmas.
Al reveals a wide smile. Cut to exterior Main Street in town day. The town is hot and dusty with a look of having seen better days. Paint is peeling off a building opposite. Ben, 60s, baseball cap. Maggie, 60s, bright red dyed hair, bright green frock. They are at the front of a protesting crowd. All wear red t-shirts labelled Broken Hill Trade Union Choir and carry signs. Ben's sign is the only one an artist could make. They poison our water for money. Bystanders watch the trade union choir line up. Ape, 40s, an impressionable good-for-nothing, is at the front of the bystanders.
Piss off, why don't ya?
Maggie peers at Ape.
Think of your family, especially the little ones. Sign the petition, help us stop this.
Ben looks bored until Ape steps forward and grabs the sign from Ben. Ape breaks the pole holding the sign over his thigh and throws the sign to the ground. Maggie lunges forward towards Ape. Ape stares Maggie down. Ben picks up the sign and holds it against his chest. Ape strolls away smiling.
Piss off back to the fucking retirement village.
Leaning against a post on the opposite side of the road is Jake, 40s, a cowboy from a past era. Ape walks past Jake, who palms him a handful of notes.
Y'all done real good there.
Ape walks off with a grin. Ben picks up the sign and looks at Maggie.
Do we need to do this?
Too many fuckers round here with their fingers in the pie.
Ben looks pained. Interior squash court day. Al in her squash gear slams the squash ball with all her might as Meg, early 20s, a bit shabby in her overall appearance, rushes to the ball speeding off the wall. Meg falls on her face in attempting to get the ball. Al looks satisfied at her win.
You don't stop till there's a kill.
Al offers Meg a hand. Exterior Main Street further along day. The mayor, 50s, a Kubra hat and the look of a man who owns his town, smiles as he looks into a busy shop outside where miners line up and wait to purchase. Fred, 50s, comb over hair, dressed like an awkward country accountant, is in front of his accountancy office.
I bet more money in town these days.
Told him I'd get things moving, didn't I?
Exterior Main Street day. The choir, except Ben, look excited and wait in formation to march. The mayor stands nearby.
Let's make some noise.
Raise your banners high, strength to strength and line by line. Unity must never die. Raise your banners high.
The mayor yells into his phone, holding a finger in one ear.
Brad, send some troops to the main street. We've got shit stirrers.
The choir is loud and approaches the town centre. Bystanders show mixed reactions, some cheer, some boo. Suddenly, 6 male and female cops sprint round the corner to block the road in a line with batons and shields. The choir comes to a silent halt. Behind the 6 cops is the sergeant, 40s and with an unusually long nose. He yells into a megaphone.
You lots, break up. Get off home. Now!
You piss off home.
You need a permit for this, you know.
Why don't you keep that big fucking nose out of our business?
The sergeant looks at Maggie, not sure how to take the remark.
You asked for it.
He signals and the cops move to the front of the choir. Maggie kicks one in the shin. A policewoman whacks Maggie on the arm with her baton. Ben drops his sign and moves forward, pushing the policewoman back. A cop whacks Ben in the front of his head and opens a gash. Blood streams. There is a moment of chaos as the cops grab Maggie and Ben. Chaos subsides as Maggie and Ben are escorted away.
The rest of yous get off home.
Interior police station counter, afternoon. Ben has a plaster on his bruised head. Maggie is holding her painful arm. The sergeant hands Ben his mobile phone and gives him a pen and piece of paper.
Make it quick.
Ben opens the phone and goes to contacts. He writes down a number on the piece of paper and gives his phone back to the sergeant.
Use the phone over there.
Ben starts to press the numbers.
Hi, Pet. It's me. Yeah, been better. In jail.
He holds the phone away from his ear and smiles at Maggie and raises his eyebrows.
A bit of a protest. Assault. Oh, just Maggie. You can't, are you sure? Anyway, it's not a big deal. It's not as if it's a capital offence. Yeah, you look after yourself.
Ben looks disappointed as he hangs up the phone.
Bugger.
What's up?
She said she'll organise a local lawyer.
Interior police station meeting room night. Ben and Maggie eat from containers with plastic forks. Babs, 60s, wide smile and modestly dressed, is seated opposite and a policewoman is standing at the door.
Thanks for this. Couldn't stomach what they had on offer.
Did you speak to Al?
Yeah. She's not coming.
Give me her number.
Interior, expensive-looking restaurant night. Al, Jill and Meg are seated round a table and read the menus. Al's phone rings and she picks it up from the table.
Al here. Babs, how are you?
Al gets up and strides to the corner of the room. Jill observes while Al has a short and tense conversation. Al returns and puts the phone on the table.
Back in a minute.
Al heads off in the direction of the toilets.
Give me that.
Meg hands Al's phone to Jill, who quickly keys in a 4-digit password.
So that's why we all have the same password.
Jill smiles as she presses the call.
Hi, Babs. I'm a friend of Al. She looked a little upset. I see. No, leave it with me.
Jill ends the call and gives the phone to Meg, who puts it back on the table as Al arrives, smiles and sits.
I just had a word with Babs. What's it with you not going home? I've contacted a local lawyer who'll look after him. In this practice, we are all family. If you treat your dad like that, becoming a partner in this firm may be a long way off. Al, it's not all about winning.
Al closes her eyes and nods gently. Interior police station counter, morning. The sergeant leans over the counter and reads the newspaper. He looks relaxed with his morning. Through the front door walks Al, wearing her business suit. She pulls a small suitcase and has a laptop bag slung over one shoulder. The sergeant's jaw has dropped at the oncoming sight. He stands up straight and puts his hair in place.
Can I help?
Al shows the sergeant the screen of her mobile. The sergeant reads the details of Al's legal position.
Ben and Maggie, where are they?
The sergeant looks disappointed. His relaxed morning has just ended. Interior police station meeting room, morning. Ben and Maggie sit at one side of the table as the sergeant and Al enter. Al lets go of her suitcase, quickly puts her laptop on the table and rushes to Ben. She hugs him, then starts to inspect under the plaster on his head.
You bunch of thugs! Is this another case of police brutality?
No, he assaulted one of my officers.
This man has never lifted a finger against anyone in his life.
Al stands upright and looks at the sergeant, who subconsciously steps backward and twitches.
Has he had proper medical attention?
We know our first aid here.
A doctor, a hospital.
The sergeant shakes his head. Al confronts him.
I'm taking them straight to hospital. Double check your insurance before I get back.
Ben and Maggie smile as Al returns to them. The sergeant still looks flustered.
Bring them straight back.
Interior doctor's surgery, afternoon. Ben, with a bandage around his head, sits on the edge of a bed. Maggie is opposite in a chair, her arm now bandaged. Both look much better. Derek, early 30s, a country doctor, is at his computer. Al is next to Ben holding his hand. Derek keys details into the computer and eyes Al up and down. Al is aware of Derek's interest.
Stitches should come out in about a week. No fracture or concussion. Take it easy for a while.
And no more of those stupid protests.
Nothing stupid about them. Something's wrong with the water.
Derek looks at Al and lingers. This doctor has got the hots for her. Al engages with Derek's look and has the glint in her eye as she raises a gentle smile. Derek jolts himself and looks back at the computer.
Your seniors, act like it.
Why start now?
Al looks at Derek's boots.
All doctors here wear boots?
Can't afford expensive heels.
Horse tied up outside.
Ben is looking back and forth and follows the flirting game.
I'll need to go out and water him soon.
You can get a nurse to do that.
Derek smiles, shakes his head and stands up to regain his composure.
Maggie's on the button. There is something wrong. The hospital has not seen this many patients since COVID-19.
It's something to do with the fracking for uranium, if you ask me.
Thought they only did that for gas.
Not this lot. Government's probably involved up to its fat neck.
In which case you should be testing for heavy metal poisoning. Urine sample's best.
Derek looks at Al, almost closing his eyes. Al returns his look, eyes wide open.
There's a meeting at the town hall on Christmas Eve. Come along.
Al looks at Ben and Maggie.
We'll think about it. You two, back to the station.
Police station?
Al nods.
He should be home, resting.
Tell that to the sergeant on duty.
Interior Police Station afternoon. Al, Ben, Maggie and Derek approach the sergeant who leans over the counter reading his newspaper. The sergeant gathers the newspaper and puts it under the counter. He stands, trying to appear the pillar of authority. Maggie strokes her nose and the sergeant gives a slight twitch.
About time.
Derek approaches.
Sergeant, I'm a doctor at the hospital. This man should be at home resting.
He's here till a judge sees him.
Al steps beside Derek and confronts the sergeant.
You have been given advice from a medical practitioner. Quite sure you want to go against that?
The sergeant twitches.
He needs home care.
And who's going to supply that?
Al looks at Ben.
Jack,
Oh, no way. He's got his in-laws here for Christmas.
when's the court hearing scheduled?
Between Xmas and New Year, the 13th.
Al ponders.
I'll do it.
Ben smiles. The sergeant addresses Ben and Maggie.
I'll be seeing you two on the 13th then.
Thank God. The poor cat will be famished.
Exterior outside cottage afternoon. Ben hands Al the key. Al raises the key to the lock and freezes. Tension shows on Al's face.
I have to do it every day. On you go.
Al turns the key and the door opens. Interior living room afternoon. Ben enters, wheeling the suitcase, followed by Al with the key in one hand and the laptop bag in the other. They are in an old-fashioned miner's cottage. There are original paintings hanging on the wall. This was once home to an artist. Al's eyes glaze as she looks at a painting of a young girl wearing a straw hat. She smiles as she looks on a shelf at winning ribbons and numerous trophies. Two of the trophies are of a female throwing a javelin. There is a picture of young Al. Ben points at the desk in the corner.
Exactly as you left it.
A lot of sweat and tears there.
Al places her laptop bag on the desk, takes off her jacket and puts it behind the office chair. She goes to one of the trophies and gently blows dust off it.
Why is it so difficult for you to come home?
Work commitments.
You sure it's not facing her memories?
It's hard for me to come here.
I live here every day. Why is it so hard for you? You can't always look forward. Sometimes you need to look back.
Al grabs the suitcase from Ben and starts to head off.
How's Anna?
She's in hospital.
Al abruptly turns around.
My goddaughter niece in hospital and you only let me know now?
Ben looks guilty.
Concussion.
Al is on her mobile phone.
Big bro, it's Al. How are you? And how's Anna?
Interior hospital ward afternoon later. Al gestures a wave to her brother and wife as they leave. Al quickly sits on the bed and hugs Anna, 10 and cute. Anna has a tube in her arm and is looking unwell. Al gently pushes Anna's hair away from her face.
We'll get you better in no time, sweetie.
I keep throwing up. After Grandma's funeral, you left straight away. Where have you been?
Al is shaken. She hugs Anna again.
I've been busy at work, but I'll make it up to you.
Anna hugs Al.
Love you, Auntie Al.
As Derek passes, he sees Al. He walks to the bed and picks up a clipboard.
She seems to have stabilised.
Al stands beside Derek.
What time is that town hall meeting?
Interior Bar Club night. Ben, Babs, Jim and Mary, 60s, 2 would-be bikies, and Mayha, 60s, a soothing personality under a green decorated hijab, all stand at the bar with drinks in their hands. Al enters in smart casual clothes. Babs sees Al approach.
Hun, look at you. Wow, I love those expensive clothes. Come hug your favourite babysitter.
Al hugs Babs.
Happy days.
The big shot lawyer.
Al hugs Jim and Mary at the same time.
Angel voice.
Al hugs Mayha. As Al pulls back, Mayha gently strokes Al on the shoulder.
How is she?
Al warns Ben.
Later. Look at you lot. Teenagers with wrinkles.
Babs's laugh is a large cackle.
Only where you can't see them.
Interior Bar Club night later. They are all seated round a table and laugh. Babs's cackle is loudest.
Hun, we're doing a few carols outside the hospital tomorrow night. Come along and get those pipes going again.
My singing is done in court these days.
You have your mum's voice. We loved it when you sang with us.
Oh, that's behind me now.
Too good for us now.
Al looks annoyed at Babs.
Pet. A couple of carols?
Al is undecided.
A couple.
Exterior outside hospital evening.
Peace begins when the hungry are fed. Peace begins when the hungry are fed as a friend. Peace begins when we see each other as a friend. Let the peace begin.
Al is in stylish casual clothes and wears a red Santa hat. The carol is coming to an end and people can be seen at the windows of the hospital looking down on the choir. A nurse, mid-50s, full uniform, approaches the choir.
Come on inside. We can all do with a bit of cheering up.
Interior hospital ward evening. The choir is in formation. Visitors are seated next to the beds of patients. Derek stands next to the bed with Jen, Aboriginal, early 30s, in it. Seated beside the bed is Tom, Aboriginal, early 30s, the appearance of a stockman, his hat on his lap, and holds Jen's hand.
We'll get to the bottom of what's going on.
Ben turns to Al with a pleading look.
Pet.
A reluctant Al nods and slowly moves forward. Al takes off her hat and starts to sing a protest song, with the choir providing bass and treble. As Al's passion grows, the patients are gradually filled with hope. Dissolve 2, Al's song is coming to an end. She sees Derek has Anna nearby in a wheelchair. Anna smiles as Ben makes a face at her and winks. Al strolls over to Anna and places her hand on her shoulder as the song finishes. Babs is nearby.
That's more like the girl I know.
Interior hospital ward evening. Al pushes Anna as Derek walks by her side.
Would seem I owe you a couple of favours.
There's a new art exhibition opening. Come along and have a look.
Al stops, pulls out her phone and shows Derek her credentials. Derek taps the number into his phone.
Nothing litigable.
Anna raises her eyebrows. Exterior Main Street afternoon early. Al walks quickly into the bright sunlight with her head slightly bowed. Up in front, Jake exits the shop and walks backwards.
See you all later.
Jake steps backwards straight into Al and almost knocks her over.
Dang. Sorry about that, ma'am. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Allow me to help you on your way.
No, I'm fine.
Jake lifts his hat to her in a sweeping motion.
There ain't too many gals as pretty as you around these parts. Come say hi to me at the Grand sometime and I'll buy you an apology drink.
Al nods and walks away. Interior Town Hall evening. This is a typical town hall meeting. The mayor is at the podium. Seated behind him are Fred and the police superintendent, 50s, hat with gold braid and in full uniform. The audience listens as mayor's speech comes to an end.
Yeah, we are aware that the hospital might be under a small amount of strain.
Maggie wears her usual artist attire, gets to her feet.
It's bloody bursting at the seams. You wouldn't talk to us like that when the unions in this town were strong. Now you think we are nobody.
We're in full support of the hospital, so you needn't worry. Okay, is that it?
Maggie leans towards Al, who looks into her compact and checks her makeup.
That cowboy at the back runs the mine.
Al turns and sees Jake at the back of the hall. Jake catches her eye and gives a wide, friendly smile. Al turns back around.
If no one else wants the floor, I'll declare this meeting closed.
The mayor is about to leave the podium when Maggie again gets to her feet.
Not since the virus has there been so many sick people. What are you doing about it?
I repeat, we are in full support of the hospital.
Behind Maggie, Babs nudges Al.
Go on then.
Al gets to her feet and Maggie sits down.
Now, you want the floor.
Why were the police so heavy-handed with the protesters?
The mayor turns round and looks at the superintendent.
Brett, you want to address that?
The superintendent walks to the podium. The mayor passes to him.
Keep it short.
The superintendent stands at the podium.
We will not tolerate violence of any sort in this town.
A group of seniors singing in peaceful protest. When did that equate to violence?
There is laughter from the crowd.
Why has this town not been informed that fracking for uranium is taking place?
The crowd reacts. The superintendent turns and looks at the mayor.
Bruce?
The mayor and superintendent pass each other.
I'll take care of this one.
Jake looks concerned and the mayor sees this as he gets to the podium.
Everything, absolutely everything's on the public record.
And where can I access this public record?
We'll get back to you on that one.
I want to know now.
Next.
Where does the water for fracking come from?
The mayor is frazzled. The audience is getting restless.
From Adelaide. Okay, that's it. No more questions. I declare this meeting closed.
The mayor stands away from the podium. Fred and the superintendent join him as they look defiantly at the crowd. The choir...
If we kill this forest, if we desecrate the land, we might as well be cutting off our own right hand, for we and the earth are one, under the moon, under the sun.
Exterior outside town hall night. Al, Ben and Maggie walk down the stairs. Al turns to Maggie.
What evidence do you have?
The hospital's full of evidence.
But they don't have a diagnosis yet. I need real evidence.
Oh, probably nothing to it.
Nothing to it? What about your granddaughter? Get me the evidence.
Ben looks at Maggie.
Let's talk later.
They pass a parked car where Ape looks at them from the driver's seat. Interior kitchen night later. Jake sits at the kitchen table and looks at a photo of a little boy and girl. There is a glass of bourbon in front of him. The open laptop has a picture appearing.
Howdy, George.
Intercut with interior boardroom Texas day. 3 men in suits are seated round a large table. On the wall there is a large screen with Jake on it. George, 50s, has a gold tooth, is at the head of the table.
Gotta tip my hat to you, buddy. The yields are way better than expected.
We fixed to be back to full production right after Christmas.
Keep that powder pumping.
Hey, George, when do I get the fuck out of this shithole?
Back off, partner. This ain't only about you getting yourself a new identity. Your kids need more tuition. Hell, they need to understand the importance of all being two new family. Let's see how y'all handle it over, say, the next 6-12 months.
And when can I talk to my kids?
1-2 months maybe. We can set up a conference call. Then you can drill them about their brand new identities.
I like the sound of that.
Y'all keep up the good work, my friend.
Interior kitchen night later. Jake closes the laptop lid. He takes a gulp of bourbon and looks at the photo of a little boy and girl. He looks strained. This is not a happy cowboy. Interior boardroom Texas day. George shakes his head and looks at the others in the room.
We gotta make sure he ain't fixing to go nowhere soon.
Interior living room afternoon. Al and Ben are seated at the dining table having Christmas lunch. Ben wears a paper hat, Al does not.
Anna seems a bit better.
Good. I'll see her tonight.
Ben looks at the paintings on the walls.
Should have taken some of her paintings.
They belong here.
You still will not come to terms with it. You work to forget.
I deal with it my way.
Ben points to a landscape painting.
You know, I used to love watching you watch your mum paint. I could see you glow as you watched her.
I've changed. I wanted to be a singer, a real loser.
You were never a loser.
What I do now takes resolve.
In all my years down the mine, I never met a man as tough as you.
It's not the same here anymore.
She was so proud of you at your graduation.
She's gone too soon.
Well, she needed you around more.
Don't shift guilt onto me. You're the one that went on a 3-day romp with that barmaid. What's her name?
Ben looks guilty.
Mavis?
Oh, sure. It'd have to be Mavis.
I needed someone to talk to.
You had your friends.
Losing your soul is difficult to explain.
You could have tried.
Ben raises a smile and changes the mood.
Well, I'm off to the club tomorrow. We have a competition starting soon. Come along.
I need to visit Mum. How's Maggie?
Well, she's convinced things are not right with that new mine.
I mean you and Maggie.
We're friends. With the choir and playing bridge, we enjoy each other's company.
Ben raises his glass.
Merry Christmas.
Al looks sad. Interior dining room afternoon. The mayor wears a Christmas hat and is on the phone.
John, Merry Christmas.
Interior office afternoon. A hand displaying a cufflink showing an emblem of a cow with long horns holds the phone. We did not see his face.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Bruce, and to your good wife. All is going well with our little enterprise? Very good. We'll talk soon.
Interior hospital ward night. Al has her laptop bag slung over her shoulder and carries a parcel. She places her bag on the bed and gives Anna the parcel. Al hugs Anna, who is now smiling as she unwraps it.
Thought I'd come late when no one else is around, so I can have you all to myself.
Thanks, Auntie Al.
Interior hospital ward later. Anna has a computer on her lap and Al has her laptop opened on the bed. Al can be seen on Anna's computer and Anna on Al's.
Now we can see each other and talk anytime we want.
Anytime.
They hug.
Anytime.
The doctor said he would take me up in an aeroplane when I get better.
A pilot.
Interior living room morning. Al wears a long sleeveless casual dress. There is no makeup on her face and she is holding a straw hat in one hand and a bunch of flowers in the other. Ben opens the front door and is about to leave.
You know, I loved your mum in that hat.
Al raises the hat to her face and smells the inside.
Can still smell her scent. Remember, be home early tomorrow night. I'm cooking your favourite meal.
Ben's eyes glaze as he turns to leave. Exterior primary school morning. Al strolls past a school. She now wears the straw hat. She stops to look through the railings of the schoolyard. Flashback starts. The empty playground becomes filled with playing children. A little girl is wearing a straw hat, running around and laughing. At the railing looking into the playground is young Al's mother, dressed like a hippie and with a happy smile as she watches her child. Flashback ends. The playground is empty again as a tear rolls down Al's cheek. Exterior graveyard morning. Al stands in front of a gravestone. The flowers are in a vase in front of the grave. Sorry. Okay. A choir song plays. A solo voice sings, not Al, with the choir providing treble and bass. Al takes a bottle of water from her bag, opens it, and pours water into the vase. She raises the bottle in a toast.
You were my song. Why wasn't I there for you at the end?
At the far end of the graveyard, Ape stands behind a gravestone. He has a stubby of beer and takes a swig. He watches Al menacingly. Exterior outside fracking mine morning. Ben and Maggie crawl commando style to the wire fence and peer into the mining site.
The shitbag that runs this doesn't give a fuck.
That dirty pond over there, what's that about?
It's where they dump used water and chemicals. Looks like your homemade soup.
They must be using a hell of a lot of water.
Heaps. Cost a fortune to get it here.
Exterior fracking operation morning. A large metal tower stands at the center of the mining operation. A few idle tanker trucks are parked near the tower. A large and murky pond lies close to the tower. Ben and Maggie's voices over.
I hate to think what happens after that stinking pond gets full.
It never seems to fill.
Well, where does it drain to then?
It can't all evaporate, that's for sure.
Exterior bottom of murky pond. The polluted water seeps through cracks at the bottom of the pond. Exterior old dam day. At the edge of the dam, the clear water suddenly has a bubble and murky water mixes with the dam water. Exterior outside fracking mine morning. Ben and Maggie stand up and walk to the car.
In dam right now.
Yeah, never doubted you. I mean, we can check the dam tomorrow.
In the distance, a pair of binoculars under a cowboy hat looks in the direction of Ben and Maggie. Interior Mayor's office afternoon. Jake slouches in a chair opposite the mayor. The mayor rubs his back. Each has a glass of whiskey in front. Jake picks up his glass and looks at it.
You should ease up on that stuff, Mayor.
Oh, it's nothing to do with anything.
That old Gallon Union guy causing a mess of trouble.
Nah, the unions in this town were strong many years ago. Now they're harmless.
She may be strange, but she sure as hell ain't stupid.
Listen, I'll run this town, okay? You got nothing to worry about.
Jake half smiles and looks the mayor in the eyes.
I hope not, because we pay you a mighty fucking packet to keep trouble away.
Mate, there's no trouble.
You gotta do something, or I will.
The mayor flinches as Jake stares.
Who are you people in Texas?
Do something!
Exterior New Dam morning. Ben and Maggie get out of the car and walk towards the pump house. They see Jake exiting the pump house. Maggie forces Ben to crouch down with her.
Is that big Texan?
Cowboy hat, check shirt, jeans and boots. It's not a fucking koala bear.
Jake locks the door of the pump house, gets into his car and drives off. Ben and Maggie start to make their way to the pump house. Interior Jake's car. Jake watches Ben and Maggie in his rear mirror and a wry smile appears. Exterior pump house morning. Ben and Maggie look at the dam, which is low. A few goats graze around the dam's perimeter.
Nothing seems wrong here.
Look how low the dam is. Forget Adelaide. I reckon they back their trucks up to here and pump water from the dam. Save a fortune.
Well, they wouldn't do that. There's not enough water here for them and us.
You bet they'll be taking our water, which means they will have to use the old dam as well.
Well, I didn't think they could.
They can use it for the old part of town. Let's head over and take a look.
They're really screwing this town big time, eh?
Not just screwing it, but bloody raping it.
Interior art gallery afternoon. Al, dressed in her casual clothes and perfect makeup, is looking at a bush painting. Derek is beside her.
These days we get quite a few good upcoming artists.
With the bright colours out here, how can they resist?
Ready?
Lead on, curator.
They walk around looking at paintings.
I'm sorry, my friend. Let there be peace.
Dissolve 2, the same, later. There are now more viewers at the exhibition. Al and Derek have now reached towards the end of the display, still talking together.
I take it there is no Mrs. Derek?
Not yet. Was someone at university. Her medicine was my poison, my medicine her poison. One wanted a bank account and one wanted a family account. You?
I met too many like me, bank account types.
I'm sure you're not.
Get your dad to look into what's happening.
Nothing's happening.
All those people in hospital, you should have been up there speaking at the meeting, not standing there nodding in agreement.
I care about my patients.
Exterior Old Dam afternoon. Ben and Maggie walk along the edge of the old dam.
Seems totally lifeless. Look!
Ben wades into the dam, carries out a dead fish and places it on the ground.
I should slap you in the head with that. Knock some sense into you.
Okay, so you're right.
They sit down by the edge of the water.
It can't be okay to drink.
Go back and ask that fish.
Well, we should take a sample.
Who do we give it to?
Al will tell us.
They stand and start to walk away. There is a sinister sound of the wind rustling the trees.
I'm sorry, my friend. that we have all been arguing, and now we're nearly out of time.
Interior hotel bar evening. Al walks to the bar and takes a seat. The barman approaches. Derek can be seen in the background, seated at a table with the mayor.
A G&T, thanks.
The barman starts to prepare the drink. Jake approaches and sits next to Al.
Well, just look who's here.
Al fakes a smile. The barman puts the drink in front of her.
I just happened to be passing.
Here, allow me.
Jake signals the barman.
Usual for me, buddy.
Jake places some notes on the bar.
Been mining in these parts for long?
Jake regards Al cautiously.
Long enough to pay a few checks.
Al does not flinch.
So, what got you into uranium?
Jake grabs Al's forearm and presses his thumb hard into the back of it.
It's best that a fine lady like you don't go asking too many questions.
Al looks Jake square in the face and holds her drink in front of his eyes.
Get your hands off me or I'll smash this glass into your fucking face. Don't think you can push this girl around.
Jake releases his grip slowly.
Forgive my rudeness, ma'am, and I accept this Texan's sincere apology.
Al gulps her drink and stands.
Can I get you another?
I don't think so.
As Al leaves, Derek sees her and rises from his chair. The mayor pulls Derek back down on his chair and frowns. Jake turns to look into his bourbon in deep thought. Interior living room night. Al places the crockery and cutlery on the dining table, then goes to the kitchen and stirs the contents of a large pot on the stove. She looks at her watch and then takes out her phone and makes a call. She shakes her head as the call is unanswered. Al sits at her desk and reads an article on her computer with the headline, Texan Farmers Uproar Puts an End to Uranium Fracking. She looks at her watch and then takes out her phone and makes a call. She shakes her head as the call is unanswered. Interior living room early morning. Al is asleep on the chair and wakes up suddenly as if from the chill of a passing ghost. She looks at the clock on the mantelpiece. It is just after 4 a.m. She wipes her face with the back of her hand, gets up and walks to the hallway. Interior bedroom moments later. Al stands at the door of the bedroom and sees the empty bed. She looks worried. Exterior outback morning. Tom dismounts and leads his horse to a small creek. As they approach the creek, the horse rears.
Whoa, whoa.
He gets the horse under control. Tom scoops water from the creek into his hands and smells, then grimaces. Interior police station morning. Al in her business suit signs the form and hands it to the sergeant.
When do you start?
He probably skipped town. I should have kept him locked up.
A sense of rage is about to take over Al. She regains her composure.
Don't be ridiculous. Something's happened to my dad.
The superintendent walks in.
We go by the book here.
Make an exception.
No exceptions.
Al rushes to the exit in disgust, while the superintendent looks at the sergeant, pleased with himself.
I get enough of that at home.
Interior living room later. Al is on her mobile.
Babs, Dad didn't come home last night. If he's not back tonight, can you and the guys come to the house in the morning? Take some pictures and hand them out? Okay, thanks.
Exterior outside cafe morning. Al and Derek exit the cafe.
My dad did not come home last night and the police are being as helpful as ever. Can you get your dad to put pressure on them?
Not sure he can do much, but I'll ask.
They can't even find his car.
My friend Tom said he saw an abandoned car yesterday.
Where?
In the middle of nowhere.
Al has her phone out.
What's his number?
He left for the farm this morning. No signal.
When is he back?
Not for a few days.
Damn.
Do you horse ride?
Ever since I was little.
We'll go see Tom in the morning.
What colour was the car?
Didn't say. I'll call my dad tonight and go see him when we get back.
Al nods. Interior living room morning. An all-in-one printer, scanner and copier is printing off many pictures of Ben. Al is in front of her laptop with Meg on the screen.
Give me a couple of days, then tell Jill. We need to start preparing an injunction.
Sure.
Let's talk later. Bye.
Al closes the Skype session. She gets up, takes the copies from the printer, and places them on the dining table where bundles have been laid out. Exterior outside stables at Tom's house, morning later. Al, wearing glasses, and Derek lead the horses from the stable. 2 Aboriginal children come running towards them.
Uncle, Uncle!
Derek grabs them and swings them around. He then puts the 2 laughing children in front of him.
This is Daniel and Claire. Guys, this is Al.
Al waves her hand in acknowledgement.
Hi.
Derek looks up at the house and Jen is at the sink and looks out of the window. Derek and Al wave and Jen waves back.
You two, back at the house. Look after your mum.
The children start running back to the house and wave.
Is she better now?
Not really. She wanted out for Christmas, so let's see what a city girl can do.
They mount the horses and canter off. Exterior Main Street in town, afternoon. Various members of the choir can be seen at different venues and hand out pictures. Babs and another member of the choir hand out the photos on the main street.
Ring that number at the bottom.
We shall not give up the fight, we have only started. We have only started. We have only started. Stop. We shall not. I'll say. Rhino, alto, tenor, bass. 2, 3. We shall not give up the fight, we have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight, we have only started. We have only started. We have only started.
Exterior Outback, afternoon. Al and Derek are racing furiously. Al looks back at a struggling Derek who is exhausted. Al is ahead as she pulls the horse to a grinding halt at the top of a hill. Derek soon arrives and pulls up.
This is not the Melbourne Cup.
Al smiles. They look down at the valley below. There is a hut surrounded by low-lying bush. The land stretches out in front of them as if it never ends.
What do you do here?
Sheep farming.
Are they nocturnal?
Derek stands up in the stirrups and is looking around.
Should be a few about.
They both race down the hill and come to a sharp stop at the windowless hut. Tom's horse is there. Derek and Al dismount and Tom exits the hut. Al looks at Tom. Tom takes a spade that is holding the hut door open and places it inside, and the door closes behind him. He puts a box of matches on the ledge above the door. Next to the door, standing upright, is a handmade spear.
G'day.
The abandoned car. Where did you see it?
Al, this is Tom.
Al and Tom acknowledge each other.
Sheep are all wiped out. Not one left.
All of them? No, it can't be anything we're doing.
The water's gone crook.
Al is agitated and takes off her sunglasses. She strolls near the cabin and is a few feet in front of Derek. She places her sunglasses on the top of her head. In front of her is a brown snake. She looks back at Tom, who is about to move forward. Al puts her palm up to stop Tom. With the other hand, she picks up a stick and puts it under the snake's head, then lifts its tail. She holds the snake.
I'm impressed.
You can take the girl out of the bush.
Al tosses the snake into the scrub and it slithers off. She puts her sunglasses back on. Tom nods his approval.
Take one of those sheep to the vets.
I reckon we know what killed him.
So get an independent analysis. Take a sample of the water to the Department of Primary Industry.
Sure, I can do that.
Tell them I'll follow up with them later. That abandoned car you saw, what colour was it?
White.
Oh, shit. Which direction?
Tom points.
Half hour that way. Be careful out there in them boots.
Tom, Derek and Al look at Al's stiletto high-heeled boots. Exterior Outback later. Al and Derek pull up beside the abandoned car. Al leaps from her horse and throws her sunglasses on the ground. She rushes to the car and opens the door.
Where are they?
Al glances in the front, then the back. Nothing. The car is empty. She puts her hand under the dashboard and releases the boot. She rushes round to the boot and throws it open in a panic. There is virtually an empty boot with only a large bottle of full water.
Nothing.
They broke Rule 1 and left the car.
Al starts to break down and tears surface.
Dad would have taken the water.
Al composes herself, takes out her phone, and starts to take pictures of the car. She points the phone at the horizon, turning slowly in a full circle.
Not a thing. We have to head back. You speak to your dad, I'll speak to the police.
Interior Police Station afternoon. Al shows the sergeant the photos on her phone. The sergeant leans over the counter with his fist supporting his chin and reads an open newspaper. He displays no interest.
Get the superintendent, damn it!
He's on holiday.
Oh, that's convenient. What's his address?
I can't give you that information.
Al takes a deep breath and casually leans on the counter with a fist supporting her chin. She is looking directly into the sergeant's eyes. The sergeant twitches.
There are two ways we can approach this. Firstly, I ask you nicely, can you give me the police superintendent's address?
The sergeant is uneasy as Al stares at him.
Can't do that.
Secondly, you could indicate where I might find it, and that way you have not told me.
The sergeant puts his hand under the counter, brings out a small local phone book, and places it on the counter. Al stands upright. The sergeant silently opens the directory at the page and points.
Thank you, Sergeant. Have a nice day.
Al dashes to the door. The sergeant looks relieved. Exterior outside the super's house later. Al knocks on the door impatiently. The superintendent dressed in casual clothes appears. He looks stunned when he sees Al.
What are you doing here?
Look!
Al shows him the photos.
Speak to the sergeant.
Get every available policeman searching for my dad. Do not underestimate me. Your career could depend on this.
Who's that woman you're talking to?
The superintendent looks strained, which Al observes.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Al leans over and whispers.
Maybe I should just let rip. With the shrill of a scorned pregnant woman.
Al looks at the empty doorway behind the superintendent.
We could see what happens to your holiday then.
The superintendent pulls his head away from Al and looks at the doorway behind him.
Call the sergeant this afternoon. A search team will start in the morning.
Interior bedroom morning. Derek carries his medical bag and enters the bedroom.
Let's have a look.
Jen lays on the bed with sweat beads on her forehead. Claire and Daniel are on the other side of the bed taking turns at wiping Jen's forehead. Tom stands at the base of the bed and looks worried.
She's getting worse.
Derek puts the stethoscope to Jen's chest and moves it around, then taps his fingers on her chest.
When did the fever start?
This morning.
Tom holds Jen's hand.
Make sure the kids are looked after.
You'll be back in no time.
It's back to hospital with you.
Derek grabs his medical bag and signals Tom to lift Jen into his arms. Outside Town Hall afternoon. Al and Derek walk towards the entrance. Al is now in her business suit, makeup and hair groomed.
Are you a pilot for hire?
Why?
Search for Dad.
I'll need to top up my flying hours. I'll take you.
The favours seem to be all going one way.
Al and Derek smile.
Jen's back in the hospital. She's even worse than before.
Have you done more tests?
They came back negative.
Thanks for the meeting with your dad.
He thinks it's just me.
Al glances at Derek with a smile. Across the street, Ape watches Al and Derek as they enter the building. Interior Mayor's office afternoon. The mayor is seated at his desk reading a paper. Old black and white photos of busy street scenes cover the wall. There is a knock and the door opens as his secretary enters.
Derek's here.
Send him in then.
The secretary leaves and brings in Derek followed by Al.
What's she doing here?
Al's with me.
The mayor gestures them to take a seat opposite and nods to the secretary who leaves and closes the door.
What is it?
I need the superintendent to use all his resources to locate my dad.
Yeah, I'm sure he's already doing that.
Look!
Al shows the disinterested mayor the photos of the car. The phone rings and the mayor picks up his handset.
Okay.
The mayor puts down the phone.
Yeah, I'll be back in a tick.
The mayor gets up and leaves. Al looks around the office and notices a picture on the wall. It has 4 young men standing under an emblem of a cow with long horns. Al points to the picture.
What's this one about?
Friend's dad met at Austin University in Texas. One is the resources minister. Not sure about the other two.
Al stands in front of the picture and takes a photo with her phone, then sits down again as the mayor enters with his secretary.
Sorry, need a dash. I'll speak to the superintendent.
Al looks at the mayor in disbelief. The mayor peers at Derek.
We can talk later.
The mayor grabs his hat and leaves quickly.
He's acting really weird, even for Dad.
You need to leave now.
Interior car afternoon. The mayor drives with his speakerphone on.
I had a visit from that lawyer.
Brett tells me she's a mite pushy.
Can't you put a bit more pressure on her?
I'm right on it, Mr. Mayor.
The mayor switches the phone off and smiles. Exterior Main Street in town evening. Al and Babs walk side by side when two thugs, bikie attire, come out in front of them.
It's about time you fucked off back to the city.
Oh, get out of my way.
We don't like your kind here, so fuck off.
Babs stands in front of the thugs.
And we don't like your language. She's with me.
Thug 2 shoves Babs and she falls to the ground. Al moves towards Thug 2.
Keep your hands off her, you moron!
Listen, bitch. Things will get real nasty if you don't fuck off.
Thug 1 grabs Al by the arm and bashes a baseball bat against her back. Al collapses. The thugs start to leave.
Get the fuck out of here, bitch.
Al slowly gets up and holds her back. Babs struggles to her feet and gets beside Al.
Hun, you all right?
Al's face cannot hide her pain.
I'll be fine. Nice boys.
Al and Babs hold each other's arms as they move on. Exterior Main Street in town later. Babs is about to get into her car.
Sure you don't want a lift?
No thanks. I need to clear my head.
You gotta start thinking like your mum.
Al walks off. Exterior Main Street in town later. Al walks painfully when, across the street, she sees Jake leave the hotel. He walks in the same direction as Al. Jake comes to a crossroad and turns right. Pain forgotten, Al dashes across the road and makes her way to the crossroad. She pokes her head round the corner and sees Jake 50 metres ahead. Jake takes another right turn and Al runs to the next crossroad. She pokes her head around the corner and sees Jake crossing a quiet street. Jake opens the gate and walks to the front door. He pulls a key from his pocket and opens the door. The lights come on in the house as the door closes. Al looks up at the street name sign and turns back. Exterior, outside, cafe, morning. Al, Babs, Jim, Mary and Meha walk abreast along the main street.
Any luck with those pictures?
Hun, nobody has seen Ben or Maggie.
Al looks worried.
Don't be annoyed with your dad.
I'm annoyed with me. What happens if I don't see him again?
You will.
Babs holds and squeezes Al's hand.
I need that big Texan to be distracted for an hour tonight.
Hun, leave him to us.
At that moment, Ape passes, bumping into Meha. Ape continues to walk. Meha looks back as Ape walks on. Interior, exterior, small plane cockpit, afternoon. Al sits in the front with Derek. The plane starts to bump with turbulence.
Start where we found the car.
Derek glances at Al and nods.
Is there something specific you're looking for?
Anything that might help us find Dad.
They fly over the old dam. Al stands up and takes pictures with her phone.
That old dam's really low.
They're having to use it for the town.
Head over that way. Go lower.
Al puts her hand on Derek's and gently pushes the wheel forward. Derek looks horrified and pushes Al's hand away.
Never do that again.
Al raises her eyebrows.
Sure. Over there.
Derek looks out at the ravine with objects lying in it. Al takes more photos.
How do I get there?
You need to take the old Port Augusta Road.
Al nods.
I'll head there first thing in the morning.
Interior living room evening. Al watches a video of the opening of a locked door using the plastic cut from a used Pepsi bottle. She has an empty plastic bottle beside her. Interior bar evening. Babs, Meha, Jim and Mary are seated at the bar. In the corner, Jake and Ape sip on beer. Jake and Ape stand and walk to the bar.
It's high time we had ourselves a real drink.
The barman is now in front of Jake.
Give me a couple of shots. Bourbon.
Make that 3. First round's on me.
Babs takes her place beside Jake and Ape.
This could be fun.
The barman places 3 shots on the counter. Jake, Ape and Babs lift the shots and swallow.
Rack 'em up. 3 more.
Meha texts on her phone. The barman pours 3 more shots in front of them. The 3 of them pick up and swallow.
That hit the spot.
Rack 'em up again.
Babs looks at Meha, who nods her head. Babs smiles. Exterior street outside Jake's house, night. Al carries a torch. She looks at the text message on her phone, then crosses a quiet street. She puts on a pair of plastic gloves. She opens the gate and closes it behind her. She takes a piece of plastic from her pocket and squeezes it between the doorknob and the door frame. She wriggles the card and the door gently opens. Al enters the house and closes the door. Interior bar later. Babs finishes another shot and looks defeated as she holds onto the bar. Interior Jake's house later. With the torch lit, Al opens drawers in the lounge and gently lifts and replaces the contents. She knocks gently on walls. She moves from the lounge to the bedroom. She opens drawers and gently lifts and replaces the contents. Interior bar later. Jim and Mary hold Babs up at the bar and Jake grins. Ape looks weary from his efforts. Jake grabs Ape by the arm and walks out. Meha texts. Interior Jake's kitchen later. Al opens drawers and cupboards when her phone beeps. She takes it out and checks the screen. He's on his way. Al puts the phone back in her pocket. She shines the torch around the kitchen and focuses on a door, goes to the door and opens it. Inside is a walk-in pantry. Al switches on the light and enters. She looks around and notices on the ceiling a loose panel. She dashes to the kitchen table, grabs a chair and heads back to the pantry. Al stands on the chair and pushes the panel aside. She feels around the edges. Her face turns from anxious to excited. She takes a wooden box from the ceiling, climbs down and puts the box on the chair. She opens the box and takes out about 6 clear plastic bags with white powder. She looks in the box and takes out 2 passports. She quickly looks at them and they both have pictures of Jake. She puts them in her hip pocket. She then takes out a piece of paper which has $1 million written on it. She takes out another piece of paper and that is the same. Al hears the front door being opened and quickly folds the pieces of paper and puts them in her pocket. She quickly puts the plastic bags back in the box, gets up on the chair and replaces the box, then the panel. She gets down and rushes with the chair to the table. She sees the lounge light come on. She is about to go for the back door when she realizes the pantry light is on. She rushes to the pantry, putting out the light and closes the door. The door from the lounge opens and there is a gentle closing of the back door. Jake turns on the light, makes his way to the sink, fills a glass with water and drinks.
Stupid bitch. Thinks she could outdrink this cowboy.
Jake smiles. Exterior underneath kitchen window night. Al crouched under the window, squirms when she hears Jake sing. Interior hotel bar night. Derek walks in and goes to the bar. The barman walks towards Derek.
Usual?
Derek nods and leaves cash on the counter. A group of customers stand at the bar.
Hey Doc, how's it going at the hospital?
We're getting there.
Good on you, Doc.
Derek walks over and sits beside the mayor. There are old pictures of the town over the bar, showing a lot of hustle and bustle. The mayor looks concerned.
What's up?
That miner's daughter you've been following around.
She's only trying to find her dad.
You'd be careful of her.
What's this about, Dad?
She's upsetting the wrong people in this town.
She's heading out to the old Port Augusta Road in the morning.
What on earth could be out there?
She saw something.
Go with her, and you let me know what she's up to.
Derek looks worried. Exterior outback morning. An eagle is flying far above, covered by an everlasting blue sky. Al and Derek stand by the car looking down into the ravine. Al takes some pictures with her phone and points at objects in the ravine.
Let's take a closer look.
They slide down the dirt embankment as Derek falls over and gets up. They reach the bottom and walk towards the barrels. Al holds her sore back.
What's wrong?
Some idiot hit me with a bat.
Shit. Let me look.
I'm fine.
Derek stands behind Al.
Stand erect.
Al stands erect and Derek lifts her top up at the back. He smoothly rubs one hand over her back. Al, with her eyes closed, enjoys his touch. Al's eyes suddenly snap open.
Just a bruise.
Al pushes her top back into her jeans. She looks at tracks going up the hill where a truck is being dragged up. She shakes her head. All around Al and Derek are plastic barrels on their sides with lids lying beside them. Yellow powder in the barrels has spilled onto the ground. Al takes out her phone and looks at it, but there is no signal here. Al takes some pictures of the markings on the side of the barrels.
This in a catchment area?
Do they belong to the mine?
Al puts on plastic gloves and gives Derek a scoop. Al holds the plastic bag open with both hands.
Put some in here.
Derek scoops a few times and empties some yellow powder into the plastic bag. Al closes the seal.
This sample and pictures of the barrels should put everything beyond doubt.
So what happens now?
There should be enough here to get a few people worried.
Derek looks worried.
Must be worth a lot of money to someone.
Al nods.
Let's head back.
Derek grabs Al by the hand and they start to climb back up the steep embankment.
How's the back?
It's holding up.
Exterior, top of the ravine, afternoon. Al and Derek stand by the car, puffing and panting. The sun is high and it is very hot. Al opens the car door and gets a small bottle of water.
Drink.
Thanks.
Derek takes a drink and gives it to Al. Al drinks the water, leaving the bottle empty. Exterior, Outback Australia, afternoon. Jake is perched behind a rock, taking aim with his rifle. Derek's car is approaching and kicking up dust. The sights on the rifle show the head of Al, then Derek. Interior car, afternoon. Al and Derek bounce in their seats as the car bumps over the dusty road.
I'll get the powder checked at the lab.
Exterior, Outback Australia, afternoon. The rifle cracks out 2 rapid shots and the car's front tyres explode. Interior car, afternoon.
What on earth was that?
The car veers off the road and down the embankment, rolling over many times. Al and Derek are being jolted from side to side. The car is upside down with steam emerging from the engine. Exterior, Outback Australia, later. The steam is no longer emerging. Al and Derek are unconscious upside down in the car. Jake slinks towards the car and drags open the door, kneels down and peers inside. He sees the plastic bag with the yellow powder near the back passenger window. Jake thrusts his hand into Al's pocket and grabs her phone. He stands up and launches the phone a distance. He swaggers to the rear passenger window and smashes the window with the butt of his rifle. He reaches his arm inside and snatches the plastic bag with the yellow powder. He smiles as he wanders off. Exterior, Outback Australia, later. Al comes to. She uncouples her seatbelt and lands painfully on the roof of the car. She crawls out of the car and sits against it. She waits a few moments and regains her orientation. She wobbles onto her feet and hobbles to the driver's side of the car. With difficulty, she opens the driver's door, uncouples the seatbelt and lowers Derek onto her knee, then onto the roof of the car. Derek comes to. Al takes his hand and pulls him out.
How are you?
Derek struggles to his knees with his head covered in blood.
Your head!
Derek wipes his forehead and looks at the blood on his sleeve. Gently, he rubs his hand over his head.
It's only superficial.
They inspect the front tyre, which is in shreds. All other 3 are intact. They stand up and dust themselves down. Derek takes out a handkerchief and Al takes it and puts her saliva onto it and wipes Derek's head.
How are we going to get out of this?
She hands Derek the kerchief, holds her head in her hands and starts to massage her face.
This is all my fault. I should have left him in jail.
Derek pulls Al to his chest and puts her head on his shoulder. Al looks frightened.
If anyone can get us out of this mess, it's you.
The same later.
It'll be dark soon, but it's best if we can stay put till the morning.
Al, now searching for her phone, looking for her phone.
My phone! Check the sample!
Derek crawls into the car and searches. He finds only empty plastic bags. Al sits with her knees pressed against her chest.
Can't find it.
Someone's already been here. If we get out of this, nothing's going to stop me from getting those bloody lowlifes.
Derek exits his search and sees Al crouched in the fetal position. He strolls to her.
We argued too much when I came back.
You were upset at him being in jail.
I should have made amends.
You didn't know he would go missing.
It was all about me getting what I thought I wanted. He never pulled back from me. I pulled away from him.
Why?
That's what winners do. Pull away. I wasn't running from Dad, I was running from me. Now I'm the loser.
Al sobs. Derek helps her to her feet and holds her.
You're only a loser if you can't handle losing.
Exterior outback night. Al and Derek are on the ground with their backs to a rock.
Why a lawyer?
In court, I play the jury all the right notes, then I get the bad boys onto the stand, play a mesmerising melody, build up to a crescendo, then zap. Gotcha.
Derek chuckles.
Why a doctor?
Dad wanted me to go into business. I found my real purpose in medicine. Dad was disappointed. We still struggle with each other these days.
Al squeezes Derek's hand.
At times I wonder if the hard-nosed lawyer is the real me.
Derek touches Al's nose with his finger.
It's a real nose, and there's nothing hard about it.
Al chuckles.
You make me feel comfortable.
Like a patient?
Al laughs.
No, doctor. Like a woman.
They both look at the stars.
Soprano, alto, tenor, and bass.
The same later.
What's that?
A faint sound becomes louder. The sound of a horse approaches. Al and Derek move quickly to crouch behind the rock.
Derek, you okay, man?
Relief shows and they stand up.
Are we pleased to see you?
How'd you find us?
The nurse at the hospital told me you were headed out this way. Thought I'd better check on you. Not sure what bush your mind is on these days.
Al and Derek exchange a look.
Thanks, Tom.
Interior bedroom night. Jake is on the bed fully clothed and with his boots on. His laptop is open and he addresses the screen.
I had to take care of this niggling itty-bitty problem, but we are back to pumping it out again.
Solid work, my friend. Keep it up.
Don't forget that conference call with my kids. I'll be seeing y'all.
Jake closes the laptop, lifts a flask from his bedside drawer and takes a sip. He looks at the photo of 2 kids and looks satisfied. Exterior outback campfire night. Al and Derek sit at one side of the campfire and Tom is on the other. Tom turns a large lizard cooking on the fire. Beside Tom is his trusty spear.
Us abos don't just eat bush tucker out. We're also pretty good with the local herbs and spices.
Tom lifts the lizard from the fire and cuts pieces off. He puts the pieces onto a tin plate.
Oh, smells so good. I'm starved.
Al takes the plate from Tom. She and Derek take pieces of lizard and eat.
How have you been working for Derek?
We're partners. He has the ideas, I have the know-how.
We started 4 years ago.
You must be pissed off with Jen Ill and all your sheep dying.
I'm plenty pissed off. If I knew who'd done it, if I was a violent man, I'd kill him. You need to get your dad to do something.
I've tried. He'll do bugger all.
You need to face reality. Your dad's in on this whole thing for sure.
Derek looks strained.
This morning I saw a water truck leave the new dam.
Cheaper than hauling water from Adelaide.
I wonder.
Exterior outback morning. Al and Derek are under a blanket as the sun shines into Al's opening eyes. Al stands up as the campfire smoulders. There is a water bottle near the fire. Al picks up the bottle and pours some water into the cup of her hand and then washes her face. She lifts her head facing the sun. She feels the sun on her. The morning is coming to life with animals crawling from burrows, birds in the sky. Derek is slowly waking and lifts his head. He looks at Al with a warm smile and studies her glowing face.
Morning.
Morning.
Tom pulls up with the truck and gets out. Derek is now on his feet, hops around and puts on his boots.
Let's go back and get another sample. Derek, can you take some pictures?
I brought my phone.
Sure, no problem.
Interior vet surgery morning. There is a dissected sheep spread out on the table. Al is on the phone as she and Derek watch on.
I'm alright. Let the others know. Catch you later.
Al hands Derek back his phone.
You're right, there's liver and kidney damage.
Al and Derek exchange looks. Interior garage workshop morning. Al and a mechanic stand beside Ben's car.
So, what was wrong with the car?
Basically nothing. Looks like someone deliberately disengaged a fuel line.
Thanks.
Al slowly walks off and looks worried. Interior office afternoon. The hand holds the phone, showing the emblem of the cow with long horns on its cufflink.
What's happening there?
Interior mayor's office afternoon. The mayor is looking nervous and rubs sweat from his brow.
Everything's fine.
Interior office afternoon. Hand still holds the phone. Intercut between the two scenes.
I can't protect Derek anymore. Tell Jake to take care of her.
The mayor wipes more sweat.
There's nothing for her to find.
Do it!
Interior legal firm boardroom afternoon. Jill and Meg sit at the large table with a screen on the wall showing Al. Intercut with Al on her computer talking through Skype.
Meg brought me up to speed. You should have come to me earlier.
I had to get evidence.
Looks like you're getting there.
Yeah, but I still need to work on a few things.
From now on, you deal directly with me. The firm is fully behind you on this. Any news about your dad?
Nothing.
Jill and Meg exchange concerned looks. Interior lounge night.
Keep on listening to those doctors. You're starting to look better.
Still going to the toilet a lot.
Take care. I'll see you in the morning. Love you.
Love you, Auntie Al.
Al blows a kiss and closes her laptop. Her phone rings and she takes the call as she stands up.
Hi. Thanks for getting Jill on my side. Oh, stop being so modest. Get copies of those 2 passports to the Dallas office. Let's see what they can dig up.
Interior bar night. The mayor and Derek are seated at a table in the corner with beers in front of them.
Dad, tell me, do you have any interest in that mine?
Only that it has brought prosperity back here again.
There's a link between all the sick people and that mine. I know it.
Forget all that. But you need to leave town for a while.
Me leaving doesn't help my patients.
Hey, don't underestimate these people. Okay? You got to get that lawyer to back off.
Do you know what happened to her, Dad?
Of course I don't. You shouldn't be asking questions like that.
You're not involved with them?
I look after this town, not them. Tell her to back off and you get yourself out of town.
Derek shakes his head. Strained, he stands up and walks away. Exterior outside stables at Tom's house morning. Al and Tom stand by a saddled horse as Al puts a large envelope into the saddlebag.
Well, I can come along with ya.
I don't want you involved, Tom. How's Jen?
No good. I'm scared. I should have fixed her up by now.
Get Derek to do another set of tests. Make sure he personally supervises them. We can't be too careful.
Will do.
Al mounts the horse and is seated in the saddle.
Did you take the sample to the laboratory?
Yeah. Still taking him a few days or two.
Al canters off. Interior hut morning. Al puts the spade against the door. She lights the candle in the middle of the small table. She looks around the hut and sees 3 large photographs of Jen, Claire and Daniel hanging on the wall. She takes the furthest right picture down, lays it upside down on the table. She hears hissing from under the table and looks. She sees a brown snake curled up. On top of the bench is some duct tape and a knife. Al sticks the envelope on the back of the picture, picks up the picture, and moves slowly as to not disturb the snake. Hangs the picture up on its original position. She slowly moves to the door, blowing the candle out, and places the spade inside the cabin. Exterior hilltop overlooking hut morning. Tom is on his horse and overlooks the hut below. When Al emerges, he hides behind some rocks. Interior hospital ward afternoon. Tom with a large envelope in his hand and Derek stand at the bed of Jen. Both look tense.
Where's the best hospital in the USA to treat her?
She's too weak to travel, Tom.
Who's the best specialist to bring over here?
Hey, you're talking a hell of a lot of money.
Or I can get it.
Derek waits for an explanation. Tom gives Derek the envelope. Interior hospital canteen later. Al and Derek are seated at a table with coffees in front of them.
Did you get the message from Tom?
Derek takes a container from his pocket.
I'll supervise the tests myself.
Al smiles.
You've not emailed me those pictures.
Derek reaches to hold Al's hand. Al senses something is wrong, pulls her hand away.
Let's wait and see how they respond to treatment.
What's going on?
This thing is hemorrhaging. We've got to slow the bleeding first.
Get me those pictures.
I'm thinking of you.
Do you know something about my dad?
Absolutely not.
I'm not just going to sit around and hope my dad turns up.
We can just slow it down a little.
Or we can speed it up.
A little time.
There is no time.
Al storms out of the canteen. Derek shows a lot of tension, rubs his face. Interior living room, late afternoon. Al finishes the sandwich with Miha seated beside her at the table.
I forgot how good your sandwiches are.
You're not eating properly. When you were taking your lessons, I always made sure you had a sandwich before eating.
Al hugs Miha.
You almost made me take the risky career path.
Financially risky. Fulfillment guaranteed 100%.
I'm glad I had you for my music teacher.
How are you holding up?
I'm sick with worry about Dad. I should have told him I missed him, not argued with him.
Miha gently rubs Al's arm. Exterior Main Street in town later. Al and Miha walk along the pavement. About 50 metres behind them, a Valiant car crawls along. Interior car, afternoon. The two thugs watch Al closely as they peer through the windscreen.
Soon as she crosses, hit it.
Exterior Main Street in town, afternoon. Al and Miha stop and look at the road traffic.
Looks good. Let's go.
As they start to cross, the Valiant suddenly speeds up. About halfway across, Miha glances to her left and sees the Valiant coming straight for them.
Jump!
The Valiant is about to hit. Miha pushes Al with all her might, and Al goes flying. Thump! Miha bounces off the car bonnet. The Valiant speeds off. Interior car, afternoon. The thugs look in the rear mirror and see two bodies on the ground.
2 for the price of 1. Big payday coming up.
Exterior Main Street in town, afternoon. A crowd has gathered as Al struggles to her feet.
What happened?
Some lunatic came racing up the street and went straight for you.
Al sees Miha on the ground, rushes and kneels down beside Miha, who is dead.
No!
Interior living room later. Al, Babs, Jim and Mary are huddled in a circle and weep.
If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to humankind of how the flowers bloom and fade, of how we fought and how we prayed.
Interior bar night. Al enters the bar and walks towards the barmaid.
Mavis?
Mavis, 50s, well-groomed, attractive with a wide smile, looks at Al.
You must be Ben's girl.
He's missing.
I've heard.
Did he talk about Mom?
Non-stop. He was heartbroken. Missed you too.
Al is in tears. Mavis leans over, hugs Al.
You go find your dad.
The mayor and Jake walk in, busy chatting to each other. Al turns her back on them. The mayor and Jake disappear into a room at the back. Al turns to Mavis.
What are they up to?
Poker in the back room. What I'd give to be a fly in the wall.
Al gives a smile as she blots the tears.
Thanks.
Interior back room of hotel night. Jake, the mayor, superintendent and Fred sit playing cards. The room gives the impression of an old Wild West saloon. The barman enters carrying a tray with drinks.
I told you, knock first.
Sorry.
Exterior outside bar night. Al hurriedly exits and makes her way down the side alley. Interior back room of hotel night. The barman places drinks in front of each of Fred, Mayor, Jake, superintendent, then picks up some notes next to the mayor. The barman leaves and closes the door behind him. All except Fred light up large cigars. The room now has a haze of smoke and smiling cigar smokers.
Shit! Can't breathe.
Go open a window then.
Fred gets up and walks towards the window.
What about that hit and run?
Probably a couple of kids on a joyride.
Fred gets to the high window, puts a chair against the wall and stands on it. He reaches for the latch and pushes it open. Exterior hotel backyard night. Al arrives at the rear of the hotel. She hears the window above being opened.
That's better.
Al climbs onto a beer barrel below the window and she can just see over the sill. Interior back room of hotel night. Fred sits at the table. They all raise their glasses in a toast.
Here's to all you lifters. Fuck 'em, dang learners.
They all clink each other's glasses. Exterior hotel backyard night. Al takes her phone from a pocket and puts it into video mode. Interior back room of hotel night. The four of them laugh as the mayor draws the pot of cash to him. They do not see the mobile phone at the window.
Hell, that's just peanuts compared to what y'all getting from me.
The others agree.
So, what are we fixing to do about that goddamn lawyer?
I spoke to Derek and he's going to get her to back off. Under no circumstances is Derek to be harmed.
You're all in this up to your goddamn necks.
That woman's too bossy for my liking.
Well, soon she'll be joining her pup for a nice little swim.
I don't care about her.
But I do.
Just lay off my Derek.
Exterior hotel backyard night. Al looks at her phone astonished. She loses her balance and falls off the barrel. Exterior entrance to hospital early morning. Derek strolls towards the entrance. Al waits at the entrance. Derek starts to smile on seeing her. Al, with an angry look, storms towards Derek as his smile dies. Al slams both hands onto Derek's chest, forcing Derek to stagger backwards.
It's your dad who wants me to back off. He's protecting his little boy.
What's going on here?
They've done something to my dad. Get me those pictures.
Slow down. I'm confused.
Get me those pictures.
Al, please.
Al storms off and Derek looks hurt.
Which side are you on? 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 They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You're either with the Union or in front for J.H. Blair.
Interior Mayor's office morning. A troubled Derek is seated opposite the mayor.
I'm not leaving. Al's not going to back off. So where do we go from here?
You're in danger here, boy.
I'm not your boy. And I've got something that's very important to that Texan.
Well, it needs to be something he wants really badly.
It is.
The mayor looks bewildered.
You sure? Give me time to think about this.
Make it quick.
What is it you have?
Trust me.
Mate, I'm like a whore waiting to be paid, Derek. I never trust a man who says, trust me.
Interior hospital ward morning. Derek stands over Jen, who is in a coma. He looks around at other patients and shakes his head. Interior police station morning. Al, dressed in her business suit, is in front of the sergeant who reads his newspaper.
Any news?
The sergeant continues to read.
Still looking.
You need more police on the job.
The sergeant looks up and twitches.
We're using all available personnel.
What about the driver of the car?
We've got nothing.
You're not trying, or you're hopeless, or you're incompetent. Take your pick.
Interior hospital office morning. Derek, in front of his computer, sends an email. Sorry, you were right. He attaches some photos. Exterior outside police station morning. Al exits the police station and shakes her head. She hears a ping on her phone. She looks at the email from Derek and opens the attachment. There is a photo of the spilled barrels. Al smiles. Interior laboratory morning later. Al and Derek stand next to the scientist. Female, 50s, short white coat. The scientist looks back into the microscope and shakes her head.
Couldn't believe it at first. The water contains heavy evidence of uranium.
That makes sense.
And the yellow powder?
Uranium powder, as you suspected.
Exterior outside laboratory morning. Al and Derek leave the laboratory building.
Tomorrow morning I'm going to take a look at the old dame.
What's there?
Something that the Texan said about my dad.
Derek waits.
He has to be there.
I'll come with you.
Al agrees. Interior legal firm boardroom afternoon. Jill and Meg are seated next to each other and look at Al on the big screen.
How are you holding up?
The game's not over yet, and I've still got enough stamina to cross the finishing line.
Jill squeezes Meg's hand.
Let's get to it then. The picture with the 4 of them. We know who 2 of them are, but we're still trying to find out about the other 2.
I spoke to the Dallas office, and they should have an answer soon.
They're checking the passports you sent.
Jill, puzzled, looks at Meg.
We're in very dangerous territory. You've got to watch your back every step of the way. We'll move as quick as we can this end.
Thanks, Jill.
That video of the poker game isn't enough for a conviction. Good news is the police commissioner's very interested. What was the Texan saying about you joining your dad?
That's the thing that frightens me most. The only place we used to swim was the old dam.
Let's talk later.
Bye.
The large screen goes blank. Jill looks at Meg.
I've got a very nasty vibe. This is not all above board.
What would you do if it was your dad?
Jill acknowledges this. Interior Library afternoon. Babs, Jim and Mary read through old local newspapers. Babs stops when she sees the headline, Broken Hill's largest hotel sold. Babs takes a copy of the article to the photocopier. Interior living room afternoon. Babs, Jim and Mary knock and enter looking excited. Babs gives Al the article.
You said you wanted to know of anything unusual or involving lots of money.
Al is reading the article.
Can you get me the phone number of Kay?
My brother-in-law knows him.
Babs goes over to a nearby chair and takes out her phone. Al puts her phone to her ear.
Hi. I'd like you to give me a quick search on a company called Jaybird Proprietary Limited. Cool. Thanks.
Babs places a piece of paper in front of Al with a phone number on it. Al taps the numbers onto her phone.
Is this John Kay? Good. Can you tell me about the people who bought the hotel? Oh, it's for a travel article I'm writing about hotels in the area. I see. It was paid from Dallas, Texas. Thanks very much, I appreciate it.
Al hangs up, bemused. She checks her email and there is one from Meg with the subject Jaybird Proprietary Limited. Al opens the email.
Company owner and director is Bruce Wright. Hell, that's the mayor!
Al looks at the 3 of them, concerned.
Stay in touch with each other and your families. Far too much money's being thrown around here.
Al looks at the 3 terrified people.
I'm sorry, my children. I didn't want to frighten you. And this is no ghost story.
Interior living room evening. Al has Anna on her laptop screen.
Take care.
Love you, Auntie Al.
Love you back.
Al closes the laptop and looks at some pictures on the wall. There is one of her dad, mum, brother, and her having a picnic at the old dam. She and her brother wear bathers. Al is focused on the picture as her eyes start to moisten. Interior boardroom Dallas day. The 3 men in suits are seated around the table looking at Jake on the big screen.
We've got costumes covered this end. What's happening your end?
There appears to be 1 or 2 niggling problems.
I assume they're nothing you can't handle.
Oh, I can take care of them real easy.
I had someone check on your kids. They're doing just fine, real fine. Make sure you keep on pumping out that powder.
Get me out of this fucking place soon. Right? You made enough out of me to last a lifetime. I'm coming home.
Do that and there'll be jail time and no kids. Got it?
Interior bedroom night. Jake closes the laptop lid, tapping the top of it nervously. He picks up a photo from the bedside table and looks at the photo of a little boy and girl. Exterior old dam morning. Al wears a t-shirt, jeans and sandals, walks with Derek along the perimeter of the dam. They stop to check out their surrounds, then continue. Al sees something and begins to race forward.
What's up?
Near a bush, Al finds a baseball cap. Derek catches up with her.
This is Dad's. He's here.
Al turns and looks at the dam. They both move towards the edge.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Al slips off her sandals, t-shirt and jeans and is now standing in underwear. She wades into the dam and trembles with fear. After about 2 meters, she sinks into the deep water. She quickly resurfaces and catches her breath. She takes a large gulp of air, then dives below the surface. Exterior, underwater at dam, morning. Al swims downward. Near the bottom, she sees the two bodies, one lying on top of the other, with heavy chains wrapped around them. Al turns the top body and it rolls face up. Ben still wearing a bandage around his head, and Maggie. They are face up with bullet holes in their foreheads. Al tries to scream and starts to swallow water. Exterior, old dam, morning. The still water is suddenly broken and Al's head appears.
Dad! Dad!
Angrily, she punches the surface of the water, then starts to make her way to the shore, sobbing. Derek rushes in to meet Al as the water is waist high. They grab each other and both shake and cry. Exterior, old dam, later. Police cars with flashing lights on the perimeter of the dam. Two divers in wetsuits walk out of the water, dragging the two weighted bodies. Al, Babs, Jim and Mary watch on, devastated. Exterior, outside police station, afternoon.
For God's sake, Dad, you've got to get yourself out of this.
How was I supposed to know what's going on?
Derek hands the mayor his phone and points at a button.
Just before you enter, press this.
Interior police station later. The mayor is seated opposite the superintendent.
Brett, this thing's gotten way out of hand.
Nothing we can't handle. We're used to a lot of crazies out this way.
You know anything about the hit and run?
No.
Was it Jake?
I gave him the names of a couple of young thugs. Nothing more.
They were the ones in the car.
You need to ask Jake about that.
What about the bodies that were found?
If we all keep our heads, nothing will come of it.
You heard him at the poker game.
There is absolutely no evidence. We all keep our mouths shut. Got it?
Derek has something that should keep Jake off our backs.
Needs to be damn good.
Well, he reckons it is.
Out in a very concerned superintendent. Exterior, graveyard, afternoon. Al sits on a blanket at her mother's grave. She stares at the gravestone and looks defeated. Exterior, outside police station, later. The mayor gives Derek back his phone. They walk away from the police station.
Send a copy to that lawyer. And make sure I'm not an accessory before, during or after.
Exterior, graveyard, night. Al has a blank look on her face as the moon shines on it. Her phone rings and she ignores it. Exterior, graveyard, morning. Al holds both hands with palms together in front of her face. She opens the base of her palms in the shape of a V and slowly closes them. A slow opening and closing of hands starts. The pace quickens and intensifies. Al psychs herself for the battle ahead. It comes to an abrupt stop and Al rises to her feet. Interior, living room, morning. A distressed Al, wearing her business suit, is at her laptop where the screen shows equally distressed Jill and Meg, intercut with interior boardroom legal office morning. Jill and Meg are looking at Al on the big screen.
Al! Have you slept?
I'll catch up later.
Jill and Meg both cry.
Okay, let's keep this professional.
Jill gathers herself.
The Resources Minister approved that mining license.
What does the Dallas office come up with?
The third man's George Smart. He's the main shareholder in Starfix Mining. The fourth one's John Madden. He's secretary to the Federal Treasurer.
Starfix Mining's where those barrels were heading. What about the Texan?
Jake Hill is his alias. That's the fake passport. His real name's Ray Miller, as per the other passport. He's a former employee of Starfix, wanted for murder. He'll do anything for $1.
Extradition from Australia to anywhere with a death penalty is very complicated. Let's leave this for a day or two and see where it takes us.
How about you?
I'm being careful. Where do we stand with the police commissioner?
He's fully committed to us on this. I'm seeing him tomorrow.
Get those injunctions to me ASAP.
They'll be with you in a tick. We should start thinking about a large dollar class action on behalf of everyone who's affected.
Set that aside for now. First, we stop what's happening to those poor sick people.
Watch out for yourself, Al. Bye.
The large screen goes blank.
That's not the Al I know. We might have a partner in the making.
Interior hospital ward evening. Al and Anna hug as they both cry. Interior laboratory night. The lab assistant, white coat 25, medium build and height, is on the phone.
It was positive. I couldn't change it. Dr. Wright was breathing down my bloody neck.
Interior bedroom night. Jake lays on the bed still wearing his boots and has his mobile phone to his ear.
Relax. I can fix this thing, okay? Your powder's already on its way.
Interior living room morning. Al is at the desk on her laptop and checks an email from Meg with the subject injunctions. Al begins to print out the email attachments. She goes to the printer and picks up the papers, sits down at the desk and slowly runs her finger over every word.
Soprano, alto, tenor, bass. We need to wake up. We need to wake up.
Wake up now.
We need to wise up.
Wise up now.
We need to open our eyes and do it now, now, now.
Exterior outback morning. Tom dismounts his horse and tiptoes towards a Valiant car. The windscreen has 2 bullet holes. 2 thugs are seated with bullet holes in their foreheads. Tom takes out his phone and takes pictures. Interior police station late morning. At the counter, the sergeant reads the newspaper as usual. Al, in her business suit, enters. The sergeant puts the newspaper under the counter.
Is your superintendent in?
The sergeant looks at Al apologetically.
What can I do for you?
Al hands the injunctions to the sergeant.
I want these enforced.
Sergeant starts to read and puts his hand up, gesturing to Al to wait. He heads to the back of the reception area. Interior Superintendent's office late morning. The superintendent finishes reading as Al sits opposite.
Why are the 2 injunctions here?
One, to stop the council using water from the old dam. The other's to close down the mine.
You have the proof to back up these allegations?
Oh, yes.
I'll serve the council today. The mining company's on a holiday, so I'll get in touch with them later.
About my dad? Anything?
Nothing yet.
Al looks uncomfortable. She gets up and leaves. The superintendent grabs the phone and hits a few numbers.
We have a problem.
Interior living room early afternoon. Al types on her laptop when there is a knock at the door. She gets up to open the door and finds the mayor there.
Can we talk?
Al nods and they walk to the dining table and sit.
Sorry about your dad.
Al regards the mayor in silence.
You're causing a lot of trouble around here, you know.
Someone has to.
Derek's been keeping me informed of everything you've been up to.
Al is dismayed.
That's right. Everything. He's my business partner. We're both in this together. Okay, my son's too good for the likes of you.
Your job is to look after this town, Mayor. You're a self-serving leech. Get out of my sight.
The mayor stands.
Derek has something Jake might be interested in. You know what it is?
I've no idea. Get out.
But Al looks puzzled as the mayor leaves. Exterior outside mosque afternoon. Al and Babs both wear black headscarves, walk away from the mosque with a group of mourners behind them. Both dab their eyes with hankies.
How about we have a quiet drink?
Honey, we can't let the bastards get away with this.
I have to do it right. I've seen too many bastards get away because of slip-ups.
Interior hotel bar evening. Al and Babs are at a table with drinks in front of them.
I loved going to Little Athletics with you. You could have gone all the way with that javelin arm of yours.
Al smiles. Crossfade to the same later. Al is drunk with Babs not far behind.
And then Miha walks in on him and he's naked.
Both women laugh too loudly. Others in the bar turn their heads to look.
Not going to be any winners here.
Babs puts an arm around Al's shoulder.
Honey, I don't know how you keep going.
I just can't allow the bad guys to win.
You're a lot more like your mum than you let on.
Yeah, I realise that now.
Between you and your mum, the bad guys haven't got a chance.
Babs embraces Al. Interior Babs's lounge morning. Al is seated on the couch with a blanket next to her. Babs walks in carrying 2 cups of coffee. She hands Al one and sits opposite.
Thanks for helping me back last night.
Hun, we helped each other.
Al's phone rings and she looks at the screen.
It's Derek.
Don't give up on him yet.
Al smiles and puts the phone to her ear.
Hi.
Okay. You're either with the Union or a thug for J.H. Graham. Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
As she talks, she frowns and looks angry. Now she listens with focus. Next she looks fearful. Then she listens and looks relieved, smiles. When the cross-examination finishes, the song stops.
Send the audio through to me. Thank you.
Al cuts off and looks at Babs.
He knows nothing about his dad's business, I'm sure of that.
Babs smiles as Al's phone pings. Al opens the email from Derek. She opens up the attachment and listens. Her eyes come to life.
It's time to turn up the heat.
Exterior, outside New South Wales Police Headquarters, morning. Jill walks into the main building. Interior Commissioner's office, morning. The Police Commissioner shakes Jill's hand after she enters the office. Interior Hospital Canteen, afternoon. Al is seated next to Derek.
Anna seems much better. How's Jen?
She's on intravenous vitamin C and replacement mineral infusions. We'll know in the next few days.
That recording you sent, what is it you have that is of interest to the Texan?
Can I tell you later?
Sure.
Tom walks in, sits at the table and takes out his phone.
Recognise these two?
He shows Al a photo of the two dead thugs.
They're the ones that took me with the bat. Is that the car?
Yeah.
Your back's good now?
Better than your creaky boots.
They're my dancing boots.
Tom watches Al and Derek as they flirt.
Both left-footed.
They keep perfect step.
You two should find a room and go for it.
Al looks at Tom, shakes her head and comes back to reality.
Sorry.
You need to accept that your dad is in this deep.
Derek nods.
The police commissioner called me. He'll fly in 6 detectives this afternoon. Get ready for some action tomorrow.
Al looks meaningfully at Derek.
I won't say a thing.
Al holds Derek's hand and looks warmly at him. Interior, kitchen, Jake's house, afternoon. Jake is in the pantry and stands on a chair. He retrieves the wooden box from the ceiling, steps down and walks to the kitchen table, placing the box on it. He opens the box and extracts 1 bag of powder. He looks shocked, tips the box upside down, and 5 more bags of powder fall out. He slams the table with his fist.
Bitch!
Interior office, late afternoon. The hand holds the phone with the emblem of the cow with long horns on the cufflink.
We need to deal with that fucking lawyer. Do something now.
Interior Mayor's office, late afternoon. The Mayor, Jake, Superintendent and Fred are seated around the table with the speakerphone in the middle.
She's gone too far.
This has all gotten out of hand.
I've got my plans for that one.
No loose ends now. None.
Jake looks at the Superintendent and the Mayor. The Superintendent acknowledges. Interior Motel Bar, evening. Al walks into the bar. 6 detectives are seated round a table in rather obvious plain clothes. Beers in front of them.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. I take it you know who I am?
The detectives nod.
The waters in this town have become very murky.
We'll lay low tonight and make our first move first thing tomorrow.
Interior living room, night. The house has been trashed. A dismayed Al stands in the middle of the room. Drawers have been pulled from their cabinets, contents emptied on the floor. Al taps a phone contact and puts it to her ear.
Can I stay at your place tonight? I'll explain when I see you. Thanks.
Interior Babs's lounge, night. Babs has her arm around Al.
You just be ready for tomorrow.
Exterior outside Ben's house, morning. Al gets out of a car and looks back at Babs.
Pick me up in half an hour.
Al closes the car door and walks towards the house as the car drives off. Interior bathroom, morning. After a shower, Al has a towel wrapped around her. She wipes steam from the mirror. She does not see the silhouette of a man in a cowboy hat through the frosted window. Al picks up the tweezers and is about to pluck an eyebrow. She looks down at the tweezers and puts it down.
We come in peace, the orders came to cut them down.
Interior living room, morning. Al looks past trophies and ribbons on the shelf. She turns and swipes the trophies and ribbons onto the floor. Interior bedroom, morning. Al, in her underwear, looks at her cosmetics on the dressing table. She swipes the cosmetics from the dressing table to the floor. From the floor next to the wardrobe, Al picks up an old pair of shorts and a t-shirt and puts them on. She slips on a pair of thongs, looks in the mirror and sees the reflection of a fresh-faced, determined Al. In the corner of the trashed room is a guitar that has been taken from its case. Exterior, outside Ben's house, morning. Al opens the front door to find Babs standing there looking terrified. Suddenly, Ape appears and has a gun at Babs's head.
Move it.
Al freezes. Jake appears, grabs Al by the arm and pulls her from the doorway.
You've got something that belongs to me.
Jake turns Al towards himself and slaps her in the mouth. Blood trickles.
After what you did to my dad?
Jake turns Al around, clamps her wrists firmly behind her back. Ape does the same to Babs.
Get in the car.
Interior police station morning. 4 detectives burst into the station where a stunned sergeant stares at them. The detectives flash badges and one holds an arrest warrant.
Is your super here?
No, he hasn't turned up.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Exterior outside Mayor's house later. 2 detectives walk from the house towards a car and shake their heads. Exterior Main Street in town morning. Fred exits his office. As he is about to get into his car, 2 detectives rush from a car and spread Eagle Fred on the bonnet. His rights are read as he is handcuffed. Interior exterior Jake's car morning. Jake is at the wheel and Ape faces Al and Babs pointing a gun at them. The car comes to a stop on a deserted side road. Exterior deserted side road morning. Jake and Ape exit the front door of the car and open the back doors. Jake pulls out Al and Ape pulls out Babs. Jake throws Al to the ground and pushes his knee into her spine. He pushes her face into the dusty ground.
Bitch, where are they?
You leave her alone!
Ape slaps Babs's face.
Shut it!
Squashed against the ground, Al has difficulty in speaking.
You better start thinking about what's waiting for you in Texas.
Jake's face drops. He looks at Ape.
This guy's called Ape, and you all don't want to know how he got that name.
Is it the chair or the needle in Texas these days?
Jake calls Al to her feet and slaps her twice.
Give me back my fucking property.
Al meets his eyes.
You mean your passport's to hell?
Start chopping.
Ape pulls a large knife from its sheath and waves it in front of a terrified Babs. He flicks the knife at Babs's earlobe, cutting part of it off. Babs screams. Jake glares at Al, seething.
That's just a little bitty appetizer of what Ape here can serve up if you won't talk.
I've given birth. Is that the best you can do?
Al looks at a defiant Babs with her ear bleeding.
Babs, no. Okay, leave her alone.
Where?
Derek's farm.
Interior Mayor's car late morning. The Mayor drives with Derek in the passenger seat. Behind them in civilian clothes is the superintendent pointing a gun at the Mayor's head.
What's going on?
Depends on what Derek has.
The Mayor turns to Derek.
Go ahead. Tell him.
Derek turns round and looks at the superintendent, then turns back. Interior Jake's car afternoon. Jake at the wheel, Al puts her head on Babs's shoulder.
I don't know what made me say that.
That big heart of yours.
Babs half smiles and then looks terrified as the car speeds through the bush. Exterior outside Jake's house afternoon. The Mayor's car pulls into the driveway with Derek, Mayor and Super. All 3 get out and walk to the back of the house with the superintendent pointing a gun. Exterior outside Jake's house later. 2 cars pull up and 6 detectives get out of the cars. 3 move to the front door and 3 go to the back of the house. Interior kitchen Jake's house afternoon. Derek and the Mayor sit at the table with the super seated opposite, pointing a gun at them. Suddenly the back door breaks open and one of the detectives crashes through. The superintendent turns swiftly and shoots the detective in the shoulder. The detective falls. The Mayor lunges at the superintendent. The superintendent turns his gun towards the Mayor and fires, hitting the Mayor in the throat. A second detective shoots the superintendent in the head, killing him instantly. 3 detectives enter from the lounge room and one of them makes his way to Derek, putting a gun to his head. Derek kneels beside the Mayor, trying to hold the flow of blood from his father's throat.
Dad! Dad!
Hands on your head.
Derek puts both hands on his head.
Name.
I'm Dr. Derek Wright.
What's his condition?
He's gone.
A detective is on his phone.
Officer down. Hold on.
The detective takes the phone from his ear and hands it to another detective.
Here, give them the details.
The detective heads outside with the phone. Derek looks at the wounded detective.
He needs help.
The detective waves Derek on with his gun. Derek rushes to the wounded detective, rips open the shirt and tears part of it off, presses the shirt piece firmly against the wound. He looks up at one of the detectives.
Hold this.
The detective kneels down and presses firmly.
He should be fine, just keep pressing.
Nobody seems to be home today. Where would the Texan be?
Has to be after Al.
He hits a few buttons on his phone.
Tom, head to Al's house. Just get there as quick as you can. It's an emergency.
Derek puts the phone back in his pocket. The detective looks at the detective kneeling down.
You stay with him. You others, let's go.
The 4 detectives and Derek leave the kitchen quickly, with Derek glancing back at his dead dad. Exterior, outside Ben's house, afternoon. Jim and Mary walk from the house towards the street.
Where is she?
They see Babs's empty car.
I'm scared.
Me too.
Tom pulls up in his truck. He reads Google Maps on his phone. Tom sticks his head out of the window.
Not here?
No.
Exterior, outside Ben's house, soon. A car pulls up with 4 detectives and Derek in it. Derek rushes out of the car and stands next to Tom's window.
Not there.
A detective opens the front window of the car.
Any ideas?
Has to be the farm.
Tom nods in agreement. Derek looks at Jim and Mary.
Jump in.
Derek gets in beside Tom and Jim and Mary get into the back seat. Tom looks at the detective's car.
Follow me.
The truck and car speed off. Interior Hospital ward, afternoon. Anna has her laptop open and looks frustrated at not being able to contact Al. Exterior hut, afternoon. The car pulls up and Jake and Ape get out. Ape opens the back door, grabs Al by the hair and drags her off the seat onto the ground. Ape then drags her to the front of the hut and gets her to stand up in front of Jake. Jake slams his fist into her stomach. Al bends over in agony, barely able to stand.
Where?
Al looks at the hut and nods. The 3 of them start to walk inside. Interior hut, afternoon. The hut door closes behind them and they are in total darkness. Jake opens the door to let light in.
Light something.
A little love nest.
Ape takes the lighter out of his pocket and lights it. He sees the candle on the table and lights it. Jake walks in and the door behind him closes. Al looks behind her and sees a knife. She glances under the table and sees the brown snake curled up.
Where?
Behind the picture.
Al looks at the 3 pictures hanging on the wall.
Which one?
Can't remember.
Jake takes the first picture on the left and puts it face down on the table. Al has the knife in her hand and is cutting the plastic noose. Jake goes to the second picture, takes it off the wall and puts it face down on the table. Agitated, he goes to the third picture, takes it down and slams it face down. There is nothing taped behind.
Bitch!
Al has cut through the plastic noose. She leans over and blows the candle out. The room is in total darkness. Suddenly, Ape screams.
Ah! Get the fucking thing off me!
There is a loud bang of a spade hitting something. Interior Tom's car, afternoon. Tom and Derek travel at speed, bouncing up and down on the bumpy bush track. Tom is aware of the blood on Derek's hand.
What happened?
Dad was shot.
Dead?
He's dead.
Tom places his hand on the back of Derek's hand and squeezes it. Exterior outside hut, afternoon. The hut door flies open and Al rushes out and throws the spade on the ground. She grabs the spear that stands upright next to the door.
Quick!
Al helps Babs out of the car and they both start to run. Ape opens the hut door and exits and pulls the snake from his singlet. He throws the snake to the ground and it slithers off. Jake exits the hut minus his hat and has blood pouring from his head. He races to the boot of the car and takes out a rifle. Exterior bush, afternoon. Al and Babs are a few hundred meters from the hut. Both run and Babs pants heavily.
Go! Go!
Exterior outside hut, afternoon. Ape is on the ground whimpering, looking down his singlet. Jake stands beside the car and is taking aim with the rifle. He fires a shot off. Exterior bush, afternoon. Al and Babs run and the sound of the rifle firing can be heard behind them. There is an explosion of blood as a bullet hits Babs in the back. Babs falls to the ground. Al drops the spear and squats beside her.
Babs!
Jake dashes towards Al.
Bitch! Where are they?
Al squats, turns and sees Jake racing at her. She moves towards the spear with her hand on top of it. She slowly turns the spear, lifting 1 foot at a time. The head of the spear faces Jake. Al shakes off her thongs. Her bare feet are on the prickly surface. The soles of her feet bleed. She twists her feet to get a firm hold. Jake is 50 meters away. Al picks up the spear and springs to her feet. She grips it with her javelin hold, paces towards Jake and lets out a primitive scream. Jake halts and looks startled. Al is 20 meters from Jake when she bends 90 degrees, releasing the spear, which vibrates horizontally as it thrusts into Jake's stomach and exits out of his back. He falls to his knees screaming and sways forward. The spear stops him from falling forward on his face. After a few seconds, he falls sideways. Exterior bush afternoon. Tom's truck and the detective's car approach the hut. Exterior outside hut afternoon. Al kneels on one knee over Ape.
You have two options. Tell the police everything, or let that venom squeeze out your last breath.
I'll talk.
Derek walks behind Al, puts his hands on her shoulders and gently gets her to stand.
Let's have a look.
Al faces Derek, who looks her in the eyes.
I've got the envelope. Tom followed you to the hut.
Derek kneels. Al places her hand on Derek's shoulder.
Who better to look after it?
Interior main hall at club afternoon. The choir makes its way to the stage. Derek and the detectives are at the back of the hall. Anna, in her dressing gown, is being held by her dad. Babs, with a shoulder strap and a plaster over her ear, approaches Al.
You should still be in hospital.
2 broken legs wouldn't stop me. Hun, go break a leg.
Al kisses Babs on the cheek.
Take care.
Okay, lovelies. This is for Ben, Maggie, and Miha.
And standing there, as big as life, and smiling with his eyes, says Joe, what they forgot to kill went on to organize, went on to organize.
The entire choir and Al are in tears. The choir, arms straight by their sides, start holding hands one after the other as the song continues. Al glows with passion. Exterior outside Parliament House, Canberra, afternoon. The choir song continues over. John stands next to a large limousine with tinted windows. The window rolls down and he hands a folder showing the cuff link of the cow and long horns. A hand comes out of the window displaying a cufflink of a diamond. The folder is taken, the window closes and the car pulls away. John walks off when a police car pulls up. 2 detectives exit the car and show their badges. One reads John his rights as the other handcuffs him. Interior boardroom Texas night. George sits at the table with 2 others in suits. George stretches out his arms and the cuffs of his shirt protrude from his suit jacket. A cufflink with the cow and long horns can be seen. Interior hospital ward afternoon. Jen is in bed, seated up with both kids laughing. Tom holds Jen's hand with tears of joy. Interior main hall at club afternoon. The choir comes to an end. The tears have dried. Al waves to Anna, who waves back and smiles. Al looks at Derek. They share a smile.
The end credits and a song from Music Choir.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. When I had a song, I'd sing brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer, and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land.
It's the hammer of
Justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
It's the hammer of
Justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
Well done, everyone.